Hello everybody, it's me Nate aka Devil Dog, and I'm back with another game review. This time I'm reviewing Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Before I get started, I have to let you all know I still do not own a PS5 system. I haven't been able to get one, and I haven't really tried, but fortunately, thanks to a good friend of mine, I was able to borrow his PS5 system and play and beat Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart along with him. Oddly enough, though, he didn't want me to disclose his name for some reason, so I'm just going to say a big shout out to Mr. M. That way, I don't say his name, but at the same time, he still knows I'm talking about him. That way it appeases everybody. Now, because of that, I was not able to capture any actual gameplay footage, but I was able to grab a bunch of high-res screenshots to go along with my review, so you'll still have something to look at to know graphics-wise of what this game actually looks like. So here it is. Check it out, my review for Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Hello everybody, it's me Nate aka Devil Dog, and I'm back with another game review. This time I'm reviewing Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart on the PlayStation 5. It was developed by Insomniac Games and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment and just released on June 11th of 2021 for the PlayStation 5 system. It is considered the 12th installment in the Ratchet and Clank series and can be considered a direct sequel to the one game known as Into the Nexus. Now, I'm not going to get into spoilers of the story, but I will give you a brief synopsis of what the overall plot is. It centers on Dr. Nefarious using something known as a Dimensionator, which sounds like a weapon Dr. Doofenshmirtz from Phineas and Ferb would make, to pretty much try to warp and twist time and space to find a dimension where he is always going to win and is the ruler of, and along the way he damages it, which leads to naturally our group of friends teaming up to put him in his place, stop him, and fix time and space, and save reality and all the worlds for all humanity. Well, I wouldn't say humanity since there's a lot of robots and aliens, but besides the point, you play as Ratchet, of course you also play as Clank, and you also get to play as the new character Rivet, a female Lombax, which, like I said, I'm not going to spoil the plot behind this. It doesn't really take a rocket scientist to figure out the overall plot with this one, though. Now, if you played any other Ratchet and Clank game, you already know what you're going to be getting involved in this. There are some certain parts with some additional abilities and different little, quote, playable characters like the spider bots and stuff like that. But fundamentally, if you played the last game in the series, at least the remake on PlayStation 4, you already know how the game's going to play. It's basically the same style game, going around shooting enemies with all kinds of different weird wacky weapons that you upgrade, collecting bolts and getting new abilities and stuff like that. But the main draw with this is this has to be the first time I can honestly say that I am impressed with a PS5 game. Now what I mean by that is it's finally one that seems to be built from the ground up off of the architecture of the PlayStation 5 system. Instead of just being an upscaled port version of a PS4 game, it actually does seem like this one was built from the ground up specifically for PS5, especially involving around the use of the solid state drive, the SSD, in order to make it where there's no load times and the massive swapping between game worlds in different rifts. Like I said, the gameplay and the guns, you get a couple new ones as you play through the game again on their New Game Plus mode, which I think is called Challenge mode. But as you go through and you upgrade your weapons and stuff, which do carry over to allow you to get even higher in your either Challenge mode replay, it's pretty much got, tried for true classic Ratchet and Clank gameplay. Really, the new character Rivet, actually, I like the character, but I really don't want to spoil the character arc in this and everything, because you kind of figure it out quite early on what's going on with this, and it's not until later in the game where you finally meet up with her and everything. But honestly, it plays just like a normal Ratchet and Clank game. Looks a hell of a lot better, honestly, visually, with the color, the lighting, the amount of enemies on screen, pretty much virtually no load times, even when you're jumping through different worlds. Honestly, the world warping aspect and the scripted moments really stand out in showing off that this is a good showcase of the PlayStation 5's power, especially using the SSD. The ability to use your like little grapple thing to pull yourself through these warp holes, which honestly to me comes off like what my girlfriend said, Dune, in the aspect of that you're not warping to a different part of the world. It's literally like pulling that world to you. So while you're there, it like does this really cool effect of pulling the game world to where you're at. And like I said, the actual warping through different worlds is done quite seamlessly. There's only a couple parts I noticed where there's like a short little delay when you go from one world to another, but for the most part, you're jumping back and forth to solve certain puzzles and stuff, going through different variations of these different, worlds, these different planets. And honestly, it's very, very well done. And I love the actual additional use of using the PS5 controller in terms of its force feedback and the adapted triggers. That with the weapons, they all feel different with the different rumble and tactile sensations when you're firing them, that you can actually feel like it's a different weapon each time. And I like the force feedback triggers that if you press them down a little bit, the weapon will do a different attack compared to if you go all the way full blast and pull the trigger all the way down. Honestly, I like that, and it's done enough but not overdone to where it doesn't really take away from the game. It does actually adds some panache to it. Now, much like most PlayStation 5 titles that I've played, this one comes with two options. You have a fidelity mode and a performance mode. Naturally, fidelity mode bumps up the lighting a little bit and some other bells and whistles, while performance mode mainly locks in a really high frame rate. And I honestly found that visually this game looks so good that I just played it in performance mode and I was way happier instead of doing it in fidelity mode. Even my buddy was like, yeah, just keep it on performance mode because it's so buttery smooth with all the enemies on screen, all the stuff exploding and the weapons going off, and it gets really hectic to where this plays out a lot more of an action shooter than the last game did. Don't get me wrong, it's still got tons of the explorations of the worlds that are so much bigger this time, finding all the hidden items, the collectibles, and everything like that. And there's 9 different worlds in this game, and there's actually kind of more than that if you actually count the alternate dimension hopping that happens, because there's several different times you'll be in one game world and you will seamlessly jump into different variations, alternate reality versions of the same world that are structurally pretty much completely different, and it's done in a way that's very clever in terms of a lot of the puzzles and the gameplay. And really, hands down, that is one of the best features of this, is it does have a really charming story. I love the writing of the characters. I do like Ribbit, the new character, the female Lombax. Really cool character. But hands down, the game worlds and the use of the SSD to swap between different realities and alternate dimensions is definitely what sells this game. The weapons are great too, don't get me wrong. I got some favorites, but especially once you go through on challenge mode, you can unlock 2 new weapons. But other than that, honestly, I think the standout of this game has to be the use of the warping to different realities and different alternate dimensions. That hands down really made this game way higher in terms of playability and fun factor for me compared to the other ones in the series. Really, honestly. Now, as for overall game length, you're looking at anywhere roughly about 10 to 15 hours long. You could probably get through it a little quicker if you rush through it and just do the main story bits. A lot of the side quest missions didn't really seem too fleshed out and too good. They were still playable and fun, but compared to some other offerings I've had in other games, I thought they felt like the side missions were a little weak in terms of the design, but the game worlds, the collectability, the collectathons, the different weapons, the boss battles, and the clever use of your grapple and like I said, the alternate dimension stuff really make this game really unique and makes it really stand out as one of the better titles in the Ratchet and Clank series. Honestly, I would hope so, though. It was built from the ground up for the PS5. I would hope that it would be better than the other ones. And fortunately, I can say, hands down, this is actually one of my favorite PS5 games I've played so far. Now, keep in mind, this is a full-price PS5 game, so that means it will set you back $69.99 for this title. That's right, it's one of those $74 games. But honestly, for the bang of the buck that you get with the replayability, the overall designs of the worlds themselves, the massive amount of gameplay you can get out of this, even if it only gets you through about 10 to 15 hours, you can replay it several times, and it's very, very fun. And be able to collect all the gold bolts and get all fully upgraded and everything like that. You can spend 30 plus hours easy in this title. And honestly, while I don't agree with the price increase, I can still say this is definitely a worthy title to pick up if you have a PlayStation 5. I highly recommend it. It was a great game. I love the ability to jump between the different dimensions. Honestly, it was really cool. And I am so glad that they actually came out with this game. And it really actually makes me have hope for the PlayStation 5 system in terms of what some people can do with some original games and not just focus on making upscaled PS4 versions for it with higher resolution and more bells and whistles. Come on, people. Make more games like this to show off the system. If you paid that much money for a system, you want to have content that can only run on that system. And fortunately, I can say this game, I think if they made a scaled down version where it didn't have the world warping, you could probably get it to run on a PS4. You'd have to bump down a lot of the enemies. Some of the boss battles would have to be reconfigured, and you definitely could not be doing alternate dimension stuff in it. There's no way a PS4 could run this, seriously. But hands down, if you get a chance to play it, definitely pick up and play Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart today. It was actually a fantastic adventure, and I just cannot wait to see what Insomniac does with their next PS5 title. This was Nate, aka Devil Dog. I want to thank each and every one of you for watching this video. Please leave in the comments below what you think about this game. Give me a like if you like this video. Please subscribe to my channel. Stay tuned in the future for the release of my Street Outlaws Trailer Park Edition 2 movie. And remember, I always end my videos by saying, have fun, play hard, and remember, people, the devil is in the details. Peace out until next time.